We are generating all this content using artificial intelligence. How do we know what is true, what is not? Now, in the human world, we currently have the same situation with people having their own truths, adding AI. And
Mm.
my concerns for the future is how do we actually use something perhaps like blockchain to determine and be able to link some sort of evidence or proof of validity or truth to
Hmm.
content or video at this point now, and maybe even photographs.
Yeah. There was just a report last week about a university using AI agents to sway people's opinions on Reddit. They did not have any guideline of we have to be truthful here. They would just analyze the person's past posts and figure out an argument that would sway them. And they had these bots posting in Reddit channels, and they proved that the agents were very successful at changing people's minds. So, to your point of concern about truth, I think you're right. These agents are going to be more and more effective at changing people's opinions about what is true. Blockchains, probably one part of a solution there when you can prove, for example, with a non fungible token, that this picture was taken by so and so at the Butler Fairground on such and such a date, that is actual a true image and not an artificially created AI generated image of some sort. So I think to validate what our eyes are seeing and our ears are hearing, we're going to need some trustworthy, neutral infrastructure that we can say, yes, this was something Mark said on this day in front of these 100 people or whatever it might be.
Percent the source of
Yeah.
truth. And I recently saw a post that you put up about the six things people don't really know about non-fungible tokens. You want to talk a
Yeah.
little about that? Sounds like a great intro.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you. NFTs are a way that people can put an image on the blockchain, a reference to a video or image, and prove the origin of it and the content represented by that non fungible token. So, those are quite the rage on several public blockchains over the last couple of years. They were probably a little hotter a couple of years ago than they are now. But these public blockchains that are being developed, some of them are very neutral, they're decentralized, they're not owned by a single entity. They have so much cryptography embedded in them to make sure that you can trust what is on there. And while there's a lot of misconceptions about what NFTs are, I do think as AI grows in importance and prevalence in our society, that we're going to need some of these supporting technologies to come alongside and help us to make sense of what's right and what's true and what's false.
100%. 100%. NFTs, I think in the past, it was funny when they first were introduced, I was explaining to a lot of people what they were, and their biggest concern was I would show them an image and say, "This is an NFT. I own it. It's mine. Nobody else owns it." And I took a screenshot of it and said, "Well, now I own it."
Yeah.
You own a likeness to it, original. And it was a very difficult concept for people to grasp, but understandably so. But when you talk about origin of truth, it takes on a different meaning than just an image. It
Yeah.
is a almost like a no, it's even greater than a notary's seal on a signature. It's evidence that this is what it claims to be. It's an authorized, right? If talking about maybe security, it's an authentication of origin.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think people are very familiar, or a lot more people are familiar with the images that were on blockchains as NFTs a couple of years ago. They were kind of a cultural craze for a while. People are also looking at putting business contracts on the blockchain as NFTs,
Mm.
putting things like mortgages on there, proof of reserves for example, a trading exchange. Here's proof on the blockchain that we actually have the assets that you are buying and selling and that are in your account. So there's a lot of real world use cases for NFTs and blockchains that go way beyond just pretty images that you can screenshot
Yeah,
and take for
100%.
yourself for sure.
I mean, think about
Yeah.
title agencies, right? In the real estate
Yeah.
market, how valuable it would be to have all that on a chain. You've got the origin of this. back from 20, 30 years ago. You have everything that you need right at your
Mm-hmm.
fingertips.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a
There's,
change in a lot of business models.
yeah. Yeah. And, instead of deploying everything on Google Cloud or Azure, you might be deploying some of these things that you really want a high degree of trust on the blockchain. And we found in working with customers on this that there's a lot of education that needs to happen to understand what is possible to do on those blockchains and what is not possible. And you just pointed out misconceptions around things like, well, I can just take a screenshot of this. How does that help me? Helping clients understand where they are a benefit and where they're not. And a lot of it has to do with a cryptography that is not something we all learn in high school. So
I
for
think it's
sure.
something we're all going to have to become very familiar with the way hacking and AI is starting to be able to, and quantum computing even, to really complicate things, right? Passwords become useless.
WorldCoin has been in the news a lot in the last week or two. That is a blockchain based solution for digital identity. So proving, I think they do eye scans actually, and they put those on the blockchain in a way that's secure for you, that your eye scan is not getting out there and easily copied, but allows you to prove later on that yes, this is something I did or said, or it's a picture of me, those kind of things. So they've been getting a lot of press, I think, because of this explosion of AI and trying to figure out, is this real or not? So
Yeah, it sounds very much like the clear process at airports.
that's
The
right. That
retinal
might be a great
scans.
analogy for NFTs.